Good afternoon. And again, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Sorry for being a couple minutes late. Again, coming off our game on Saturday, first of all, I want to thank the fans for hanging in there during those delays or whatnot. No, that's not the most comfortable thing, but they hung in there and provided a really good atmosphere for our guys, and I know our guys really appreciate that. Took care of business and got to play a lot of guys, which was important for our team to develop. The other part of our roster that hasn't had much time. So critically important to not for guys just to play, but to develop and to get quality reps against a good opponent and improve and give ourselves more confidence in playing more guys in other critical situations. And they preserved the shutout and continued to move the ball and score points. And, we put that one to bed and quickly got on our opponent for the week. Tremendous opportunity against an excellent football team with a great coaching staff and lots of good players, and our players are fired up and looking forward to it. So, questions, please.
Mario, Francis Mariano got named the conference lineman of the week. He graded out really well. Just how have you seen him develop over the course of maybe the last year or so, from the end of last year to now? And do you think he's kind of reaching that potential that he was so heralded at high school?
Yeah, our offensive line coach, Coach Mirabal, mentioned it today. Last year, Francis CC, as we call him, he was a freshman All-American, but he's nowhere. Well, last year he was nowhere near the player then that he is now. He has improved tremendously through an insane amount of time invested in strength and conditioning and film watching, the way he practices. He's taken more than a step. He's taken a couple of steps, and it really has elevated his play to become one of the best players in the country at any position. So, and on top of that, he's a great leader and a member of the Leadership Council. So, can't say enough awesome things about him, and he's just scratching the surface.
And to double check, you mentioned Jalen and Inez injuries on the radio this morning. I'm going to double check. Did you say they were going to be ready for Saturday's game?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just double check.
Yes, sir.
And with just the offensive line in general having to move a lot of guys around because of injuries, just how do you feel the group has done throughout the first 3 games collectively?
They've done good and solid in some spurts. I know the big question was Saturday. We were generating a lot of yards on the ground early in the game, first half of the game. It's a little bit of everything as it relates to that, and I know we covered some of that on Saturday, but again, pleased with the way that they work, the way they get after it. We got to continue to ride them because they're such an important part of our team. They are culture-driven, hard-working, just real deal guys that them, along with the defensive line, our trenches in general, they get after it and they drive our football team. So I think they've, to answer it a long way, I think they've done well, and I know there's a lot more in the tank, and they'll have the opportunities to prove that.
A guy like Jalen come back for you guys, missed the last 2 games, and that's coming back to. How important is that against a team like UCF that likes to bring that pressure, likes to blitz a lot?
A lot of experience with those guys. Big bodies that move fast, move with power. They're certainly they're smart. They're unfazed. They provide a lot of, I would say, calm and confidence in the huddle, when they're on the football field. And they can handle a lot. They can make adjustments on the run. They communicate at a really high level. So come to the sideline, before you see it on the tablet, they're already talking about it and explaining what's going on so that we can make an adjustment and, get better, and give ourselves a chance to have more successful plays. So those guys are invaluable.
The last couple of Mondays, but I think you used 78 guys against FAM, something like 75 or something against Ball State. You've had 10 receivers in week 1, 12 receivers in week 2, 11 receivers in week 3 on make catches. You had Emory come in and play really well. You had recently the week before play really well. Could you have drawn it up any better in terms of just getting guys reps, getting guys game reps, getting guys important game film? How valuable is just the totality of all of that?
Yeah, it's modern day college football with the expansion of seasons, with conference, play being so important, with sometimes red shirts coming into play. You really need to develop every part of your roster you possibly can. In a perfect world, you'd have 125 guys that are capable of helping you out in some way, shape, or form. I could give 24 examples of guys making plays that no one's really had a chance to hear from. A guy like Nick Kelly, who came on here as a walk-on, has been working his tail off for 2 years, has one of the best plays on special teams on kickoff cover. No one heard about it, but for us, ultra valuable. Guys like Elijah Lofton getting out there. He's already played a bunch, but now, he got in the end zone and got a taste of that, and he's been doing that his whole life. Now he did it at the college level. So his role continues to expand. It goes on and on and on. When Armando Blunt, Justin Scott, Cole McConaughey, all those young defensive linemen getting in there and getting a whole bunch of reps, man. It's invaluable. And again, it was a big area of emphasis for our staff to develop our roster and get those young guys ready to play, and they did, and they responded. They responded much better this week than the week before.
Mario, as you start to climb the rankings and getting all this attention, just nationally, what are you telling the players in order to stay focused, knowing there's still a lot of football games left to play?
Well, I don't think much has to be said. They're very well aware of the same people that are giving them praise and showering them with all the good stuff, and rankings were the same ones that were, throwing dirt on them and over their grave when things were being built piece by piece. So we really pay very little attention to that. We acknowledge it. We're proud that we are being acknowledged, but it's so in the back of any thought as it relates to our progress, to our drive, to our determination. We just want to get to work. We just want to get better. We just want to go play football. We want to play the Miami Hurricanes standard, and we got a lot of work to do to get there.
Does the effort that USF shows on tape, does it stand out? It seems like they play with a chip on their shoulder.
Mm-hmm. It does. I think their speed, their physicality, the intensity they play with, the way they get to the football, their ability to tackle, get guys on the ground in space, the tempo they play with on the other side of the ball. There's a lot to them that has made them successful. Tremendous amount of respect for their head coach, their coaching staff, know them and have seen them work at other places and what they have been building at USF as well. They got a great football team, and it doesn't take but 3 or 4 clips watching them play the University of Alabama for everybody to realize how drastic, how big of a step, how much of a how good of a team that really is. So the tape doesn't lie, and our guys have a chance to see it, so we're excited for a great challenge.
Cam's on the brink of 15,000 yards, kind of all 4 of his years plus the 3 games here. He's like, there's not very many guys in college football history that have thrown for that many. Without even asking him, I'm certain that he does not care. I think when you look at great athletes as they approach milestones, they typically don't care. Why do you think great athletes don't care about numbers? Why are they different than others when they don't get wrapped up in themselves? How does somebody learn that skill?
We ironically talked about that today with the leadership council. It almost seems like the great ones, they're just restless. They're almost like grouchy. They're never comfortable. They're uncomfortable in the right kind of way, and they make people uncomfortable in the right kind of way to keep everybody on edge. And the guy's restless. If it doesn't have much to do with us winning and getting better, I don't think he has any interest in it, quite frankly. And it's the right mentality. It's the right mentality. He's got this window to play college football, and he came to Miami for a lot of reasons, and one of them is winning, and proving also that he can help a program be a winner, So the guy he's laser focused, and when he's at, well, we're seeing what it is when he is at. So.
What can you say for the tight end group and the impact they've made year over year? You mentioned Cam Wardy's obviously made an impact too, but just the tight end group coming together and producing this year.
I think Coach Woodle has done a great job with those guys, and I think that tight end group has done a great job just buying into a couple things. Number one, the weight room, because they're much bigger than they've been, into conditioning and speed work because they're more explosive. And they were patient last year. That was tough, right? At Miami, we're so used to tight end production being at a high level. They were patient. They bought in, and they've seen they reaped the rewards and the benefits of it early this season. They're I think it's a dynamic group. I do. They're funny as all get out. I mean, they are as different of personalities as you can find. They come in all ages, shapes, sizes, colors, ethnicities. I mean, these guys are all. I mean, they're like almost a reflection of our city, you know. And they love to play football. I mean, they love to play football. They're all about it. So that's another group that, in our opinion, is just scratching the surface, and we're going to demand a lot of them because they're capable of it.
This is the third team in state that you've seen already, and obviously there's still one more to go that you see every year. But do you think it's important to play, especially in Florida where college football means so much? Do you think it's important to play multiple games against other in-state teams?
I mean, we like it, you know, we really do. Now we treat everybody independently, and you know, we certainly know when we focus on somebody, regardless of where they're our opponent, we you know, we almost eliminate any narrative, subplots or whatnot. It's that opponent. It's the most important game that we have. But obviously, the amount of energy that it brings out, and the alumni and the fan bases, you could tell that obviously there's a lot of passion behind it. So it's good stuff. It's good stuff, and we're just focused on getting better.
Mario, what has been the most impressive thing about this 3-0 start that you've seen from your players? Is it because with these huge leads that you guys have, and they're still fighting through till the clock strikes 0?
Well, probably the best thing that I'm fortunate enough to be here and like about this team, these guys really, they love football. They love football. You could throw a lot at them. You could confront them with work. You could confront them with constructive criticism and feedback, and this is the way we're going to do it. This is what we have to do. And they just take it, and they take complete ownership. And they have demonstrated that they have great leadership qualities, and they have demonstrated that by leading this football team. You know, I think all the credit needs to go to the players.
Mario, it seems like, I don't have the number in front of me how often you guys rush 4 versus, you know, bringing extra men to blitz, but it seems like you guys are able to really, you know, get pressure with just the, you know, 4 down linemen. How much does that free you guys up to, you know, in coverage and just create more possibilities for the defense that you are able to get pressure with just the defensive line?
Well, I think obviously it's helpful when you could do that, because coverage is, you know, you have one extra, right? But I also think that because we're so versatile and so multiple on defense, that, you know, as an offensive line, you want to settle in and be able to point things out, call things out, give a direction to protection and whatnot. And I think when Coach Guidry does what he does, it keeps people on edge. It keeps people guessing. You disguise coverages. You disguise, you know, which way you're rotating that secondary. It makes it difficult, you know. So besides the speed and the power of some of our guys up front, when you keep people guessing and maybe a little bit not as confident in some of the you know, things they're doing, it comes together nicely. And so far we've had success. And then watching film, we saw yesterday, there's so many things we can improve on. You know, we could be an unbelievable front, and I know Coach Taylor, you know, Coach Salavea, all these guys are working their tails off to make sure that we take that next step.
And being a former offensive lineman yourself, I mean, over the year and a half of working with Coach Guidry, just how much have you seen, like, him bring different blitzes, different, you know, packages, stuff like that? And you said, okay, that's interesting. That'll mess some people up. You know, that'll get people all, you know, mixed up and stuff.
Yeah, well, this staff has a lot of experience, so I think you would really like and appreciate some of the off-season work when we clinic each other, where we go on the road and spend time networking with some NFL teams and start drawing up, hey, this is what really hurts us. Let me show you what hurts you, and then just exchange information, assessments. From a self-scouting standpoint, we self-scout each other like opponents so that we can point out the things the tells, right? It seems like everything, every play, every format has a tell, right? And if you could find those tells, you could help yourself or hurt yourself. So Coach Guidry, he really gets you ready. Like, our offensive line has seen so much that come game time, most of the time, we've seen some form or fashion of it. So it's been really helpful, and it's really difficult to block.
Kind of off topic, do you have a philosophy on kickoffs? Like, if you had your way, would you take a touchback every single time, or is there a time and place where you want Andy to try to place at the 5 and see if you can pin someone deeper? Is it just safer?
The perfect kick is, outside the hashes at the one deep, something like that. So you could cover, because you really, you've cut the field more than in half, right? You're playing on a third of the field. That's really hard to do, So instead of taking a chance, he's always doing everything possible to kick it out of there. Now there was, the surface was slippery on Saturday. We had a couple slips,
It wasn't related to anything that went on?
No, it's a good question because, for example, Darius Hayes, right? Man, he's been playing lights out on kickoff. Bobby Washington, been playing lights out on kickoff. Cam Pruitt, all these highly touted freshmen, when Miami was always good, you had Michael Barrow, right? Darren Smith, Jesse Armstead, Darrell Williams, all these guys just running down there and splattering people, right? Well, over time, these guys finally started understanding that playing well on special teams, angles, right, leveraging the football, getting guys on the ground, tackling, blocking, that's going to lead to better play on offense and defense. So those guys have really bought in, and they're doing a great job. Dylan Day, what a spectacular game he had. So a lot of freshmen are contributing on special teams, and it's not to preserve anybody. We really are playing our best guys on special teams everywhere we can because, we want that. We want the DNA of our team to show in the way we play special teams.
Now that you had a chance to watch the film, what did you see with the Wesley play when he hit the quarterback? And what is your message to the guys about balancing being smart and being aggressive?
I think he was smart. I think I didn't think he hit him high. I know it was one of those bang bang quick plays, and I don't know if they had a chance to review it thoroughly. I thought he took a great angle, great pad level, and they feel that the crown of his helmet was a little bit high, so that's what came up with it. We don't, what's the right word so I don't get myself in trouble? Sorry, I'll work on it. But we don't want to in any way, shape, or form minimize the aggressiveness of our team. But we stress discipline. We don't play dirty. That's something we wouldn't do with my own son, But we want to be physical, and I think I wouldn't change anything about Wesley's style. That guy plays football the way it's supposed to be played, and he's another one that is doing this.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, thank you guys. Appreciate it.